Welcome into the studio ahead of the Patriots' final preseason game. I'm Tamara Brown alongside Mike Dussault and Evan Lazar. Mike, we've seen a great sample size of a lot of the players through practices and one joint practice, but what are you looking forward to in this game? Do you think we'll see the starters?
I do. I think we're going to see some of the starters. I mean, there wasn't, they were going to have joint practices this week, which unfortunately were canceled, of course. But I think that they need another go-round in a game to see kind of what they have. There's certainly a number of players who, still have the opportunity to make the roster. So I think we're going to see Mac Jones, some of the starters, maybe not all of them. Some guys maybe that you have to protect or just make sure that they don't get hurt. But I think we're going to get to see some of those guys at least for maybe a quarter or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that you can get enough reps at this time of year in live preseason action. I think for quarterbacks specifically, you got to face a live pass rush. We talk about this all the time at practice that it might have been a sack, it might not have been a sack. Well, you don't really get that luxury in a game. And when you wear those red jerseys in practice, you don't see that live pass rush. And how do you handle it when you're staring down the barrel and somebody's coming right at you? Can you make those throws? And I think that was one of the more encouraging things that we saw out of Mac in the last preseason game, was that he did stand in there against some pressure and did make some throws on third down, specifically with guys in his face. Obviously, you want the protection to be a little bit better, so he's not always facing pressure and oncoming rushers, but that's football. It's going to happen, and he's going to have to learn how to adapt to it.
Of the sample size that we have seen, Mike, of the guys that aren't the starters, who are you looking forward to in this final preseason game?
Well, I'm gonna get Evan going with this one. I'm gonna say Marte Mapu, who's a rookie, came out of his red jersey in Green Bay last week. Thought maybe we'd get a chance to see him play. Had a hard hit in that joint practice. Also, showing up here in practice this week as we're leading into the game. So we haven't really seen that rookie yet. We've been intrigued by him and all the different things that he seems to be able to do.
I like that you brought up Mapu. We haven't seen him in a game yet. Haven't really seen him in a live contact situation. We know that he can play multiple spots, but where is his home in the NFL? Is it going to be at the linebacker level? Is he going to play more safety? I think they're still tinkering with trying to figure out where exactly he's going to play.
If I had to pick one guy that I've got my eye on for this final preseason game, it would be Kayshon Boutte. We've seen him on the rise, especially the last few practices. We saw a little glimpse of him in the Green Bay game. I'm hoping to see him in this final preseason game take advantage of the guys that are out in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, it's a player that he needed to really make a stamp on the roster to be able to get them to carry 6 receivers. I mean, that's not something that they don't normally do. So if they're going to carry 6, then you had to look at Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte and be like, you cannot cut these guys. And I think that that's what we're starting to see a little bit from Boutte. Last week in Green Bay, made some good plays in practice, then brought it into the game with the 42-yard touchdown. Another player, though, that's been around a little bit that I think really deserves a chance to show what he can do in the regular season is J.J. Taylor. He just keeps on having good camps and good moments in preseason games. The Patriots have had really good running back depth over the years, and he hasn't always been, he's kind of been the odd man out a little bit. But I thought last week against Green Bay really showed in pass protection what he can do, improving in that area, carried the ball a few times, averaged over 7 yards per carry. So I think J.J. Taylor is an NFL player. The question just is a numbers game, and now with Zeke Elliott in the building, how exactly do they go about stacking that running back room? But those are 2 spots. Do they carry the depth, or do they go a little bit thinner than what we expect? Wide receiver, running back, even tight end. We know that Gesicki and Henry are going to be here, but is there going to be a third tight end on the roster?
Mike, Evan brought up Ezekiel Elliott. We haven't seen a lot of him yet. He's only practiced a few days with the team. Do you think we'll see him in the final preseason game?
I sure think it's possible. I mean, it seems like he's starting up his workload a little bit. I wouldn't completely rule it out just to get him. Again, there's 2 weeks break before their opening season game, so I don't think you're quite as worried about, maybe little dings or, tiring guys out. Like, I think this is the last chance you really have, to Evan's point, to get some live tackling, and certainly he spoke to the pass protection, the quarterbacks understanding what is a sack and what isn't. Well, I think running back isn't far behind in terms of, how is Zeke Elliott going to be breaking tackles, which I'm sure he's going to be breaking a bunch. So hopefully we get to see him. If not, we'll spring him on the Eagles in a couple of weeks.
Well, we share with you guys who we're looking forward to see in the final preseason game. Tune in for more training camp coverage and preseason coverage on Patriots.com.